to another Dawn and Julia Create. I'm excited. We're not blindfolded. We can see what we're doing. It's amazing. If you want to know what that nonsense is about, I will link below. But today we are doing all things mixed media, which both Dawn and I love. We are mixing one of my favourite collections from JMC with some of Dawn's new goodies. She's releasing her own stamp. How cool is that? So yeah, sneak peek. So let's just start playing. So we are working with the Mad Hatter's Mushroom Shrine Kit. I love Wendy's kits. Honestly, the MDF is amazing. The quality is amazing. But it's like kind of like the prices of things you'd find down at the works. It's amazing. Love, love, love it. And I've had these kits sitting in my shop for I don't know how long, and I haven't played with them yet. So I knew that Dawn had a few, so I asked her which ones she had, and we both had this one. So hence the choice for this one. Now it has a little box that you kind of put together. I decided to use gel medium just to slot this together and to do this before I start painting them. These notches and everything are so well cut that sometimes if you put paint in, paint them first, it kind of fills up the slots and the notches. So I decided to build the box before painting on this particular occasion, but I think you could do it either way. Also, just as an extra precaution, I decided to gel medium round all those notches that slot together just to really triple check that everything would be okay and secure. The next job was to gesso everything. You don't need to gesso these. The MDF doesn't particularly need it because it's a high quality MDF, but there's a couple of things. I like things looking nice and bright, so if you paint directly onto the MDF you will get a more vintage look, and I want it nice and bright. Also, the MDF is absorbent, so it will absorb the paint, so it's a bit more economical if you gesso it first, basically, because that's a cheaper product. So I normally give everything a couple of coats. I think this particular kit had 2 or 3 coats before I actually started painting. So I've decided to keep this next part of video footage in where I open this acrylic wet palette. Honestly, this thing is a game changer. I have been looking at one of these for ages and finally bought it on my trip away. If you're interested in that, it's in the art haul video. But honestly, it is amazing. So what it is you have a water sheet, which you can see me here just squirting some water onto. It's probably because I was down at the studio. I should have maybe just run under the tap. It would have been easier. I decided that was going to take ages, so I just sort of poured water and brushed it on. But you have this water sheet that you load with water, and then you have a membrane sheet that you put over this wet sheet, and it keeps your paints wet. So when I do a mixed media project, like I was doing this one, it's taken me all week to make this. So I started on Monday, it's now Friday, and the paint is still in my palette and it is still good, because quite often when I work on mixed media projects, I work on a few at the same time. So the painting process, I think I did one coat one day, and a few days later I did another coat, and then another day again I did the final coat. So the painting process took me over 3 days. And this palette was amazing. I had no dried out paint. It meant I like to mix as I go. So you can see me sort of mixing on the actual MDF here, but it meant all the mixes that I'd been making as I went were just still there in the palette, completely intact. You will see as I switch to day 2 and 3 of this painting, I deliberately kept it in because you can see the palette to the side and the paint looks just as juicy as it does right now on screen. So as I've said, I do like to sort of mix on the palette. So again, I've gone with 3 shades. I do think it's really important, even when doing mixed media projects and painting onto it, that you do think about your shades and tones. So I like to have a light, a mid and a dark, and I just think that really helps to bring it to life. You will see on this particular coat that by the time I'm finished it looks dreadful, so please do be prepared for your art to go through an ugly stage. It always does. you find that there's only so much blending you can do on the first coat, and it just kind of gets quite streaky. Look at that, see what I mean? Those lovely white bits, just delightful. So yeah, that is why it needs a good couple of coats. So if you're doing this and you know it's not looking as finished pictures show it or portray it, just keep going. It's not right, it's not the end. It does take a lot of patience, but I just love it. I love getting lost in the world of mixed media. Now, I'm not sure what Dawn will have done with hers. I'm thinking she'd probably stick with traditional colours. She quite often likes using her watercolours, or she tends to go with black gesso and metallic colours, but I don't know. I'm actually going to guess acrylics. I think for this one, I'm going to guess acrylics, especially as we have got her gorgeous stamp coming up as well. And it's going to have that sort of woodland feel. I think she's kind of going to go for a traditional, authentic woodland feel as opposed to, you know, metallic. So as you can see, I am trying to blend inside this box. It is not going overly well. And it does take a couple of coats. So this is the next day. Look at my palette. Look how juicy that paint is. It's amazing, honestly. I love this thing. What I have done as well is I have put a link to one on Amazon. So I bought mine at Cass Art, but I found the same thing on Amazon. So I've put a link to that in the description box because honestly, game changer, life changer. I'm so excited about mixed media projects now, about not wasting paint, lots of different things. Now I was struggling to get a good blend in this box and it was looking quite textural, and to be honest, a forest is very textury for want of a better word. And I've also wanted to go quite dark because if you're looking into a thicket, the stuff behind it is going to be quite dark. So I decided just to go with it and to make it try and look like trees and grass, not particularly aesthetically, but texturally. I wanted it to look like you were looking into a forest. So I just started painting in some branches. The paint was quite thick at this point, so we are getting lots of texture. And I paint in a little bit of grass as well. And I think I probably needed to leave that for about 2 days to dry because I had gone a bit overboard. The last thing at the painting stage is I'm coming back in with my gesso and gessoing over the spots of the mushrooms. Again, just purely in the so that we have that primer. I find that the paint tends to absorb. So I tend to find if I put gesso first before I start using my paint pens, it looks quite well. And I'm busy waffling and I should be going, wee, look at Dawn's stamps. Isn't it so cute? She's so excited and she has been teasing everybody for weeks. And to be honest, they're not really due to be released yet. And I said to Dawn, can we use them? And she went, okay, they can be a sneak peek. But quite frankly, I think she needs to let me have my own way for a little while after blindfolding me last week. So yeah, that's all I can say. I think it's all I deserve, quite frankly, is to be able to get to use the stamps early. So I am colouring up this gorgeous little squirrel guy with my Copic markers. Now I must apologise, I really wanted to show the entire process of this, but my side camera for some reason keeps cutting out, and it cut out halfway through me colouring the squirrel. So there we go, there's it finished, but you know, I've got the mushrooms. I've got the process of the mushrooms for you. So again, similar to what I did with the acrylic paints, but this time I'm now doing it with alcohol markers. We are using a dark, a mid and a light tone and sort of blending in between. I'm very excited about this project. We've got so many styles of mushrooms. We've got the MDF mushrooms that have been drawn by Wendy. I've got some of my mushrooms in there as well. And we have Dawn's mushrooms too. And it's great because if you think of a forest, there is so much variety and plants and everything like that. It's just going to look so cool when it comes together. So again, just adding the finishing touches of the mushroom stalks there. Never leave your spots just completely white. They need shades and tones. You're not actually going to see overly that there's that little bit of colour in there, but if I hadn't put it, you would notice it was really stark. And look, there's all the pretty little bits together. And then we also have my woodland tot stuff as well, and we are going to just mash it all together and make the most gorgeous project. So this is the thing, use everything that you have. You don't have to be precious about only using a certain brand. You can pull out lots of different brands of stuff and use it together on your projects, and it's what will make it unique to you, because yes, we can all buy the same stuff as each other, but we all maybe have different things to take to the table, different mediums, different techniques, or we've got a slightly different mix of images because we've bought slightly different products from different people. And you'll see that Dawn and I have the same brief, the same stash, we're both using the same kit and the same stamps, and I can guarantee you it will be completely different. Dawn and I have been doing this challenge for a couple of years now, and I don't think yet we have ever made anything the same. We're quite often along the same lines, like we'll have both chosen white gesso, or both gone for the same colours, or both gone, you know, sometimes we're very similar in our choices, but the results are always hugely, vastly different. So, essential to life, cardboard. I keep thinking I might do a video on household essentials or household products that have become crafting essentials. One of these is cardboard. Saves you a fortune in 3D squares. It's also better for the environment because the 3D squares have those silly little plastic things on the back. And to be honest, we're all drowning in cardboard with the packages that we get. So why not use it? And it's economical, and we're reducing, reusing and recycling. So all good. So although there is a bit of dimension to this mushroom because it is MDF, I wanted to give it a little bit more. So I've given it a layer of cardboard as well. And I'm just going to stick that into the shadow box. I keep pulling the front over just to make sure that I've got everything sort of lined up and visible when it comes to being sorted. So I just keep doing the same thing. I've got different amounts. I think on this one I had 4 bits of cardboard and then actually decided that 3 would have looked better. So I just pulled one of the layers off and stuck it back down. So yeah, it's fine. You can rearrange to your heart's content. I'm sort of going with the rough plan that I had earlier, but I do actually change it as I go. So I'm just trying to build this up. Now you can see that little mushroom guy. What am I talking about? Little hedgehog guy. Look, he's floating in the air. Never worry about stuff like that. Just get your layout how you like it. And now I'm just aware that I'm just raising that a little bit higher because I'm aware that he is floating. But I'm not going to leave him like that. This is when I start getting the different bits of foliage in and tucking things, and eventually we make it look like he is grounded. We won't leave him sort of floating in midair. So put things down in the position that you think that they will look the best, and then work to fill in any gaps or bits and pieces that you feel might annoy you. Yeah. Sorry if there's a strange edit in the sound there. I just suddenly realised, is this actually recording? I think I'm doing like really well with this voiceover thing. Suddenly was like, is it recording? But it's because I had it down on a different bit. Anyway, now I'm getting some gel medium. I've just been using my normal glue because we're just dealing with paper. It's fine. But because I am wanting to stick the MDF front piece to the shadow box, I want to make sure it's stuck down properly. So I have just got a whole load of gel medium and I am just going to secure the front. And how good does that look? Now here's where I make a change from when I was originally putting everything out. I had loads going on at the front as well. And to be honest, when I tried to do that, when I was putting it all together, it just felt like it could have been any other paper project. It didn't make the most of the MDF. And I just think the fact that we've got this gorgeous MDF kit, that should be seen. So I decided just to keep the front really simple. I've made a focal point of Dawn's little squirrel and mushroom. I'm just using a little leaf there again because there's a tiny gap that you can see from what is going on inside the box. Now I'm getting my Poscas out, and the fact that I have gessoed those spots just means that the Posca is going down much more easily, and we're getting a nice bright white first time round instead of having to layer it 3 or 4 times, because as I said, it will have absorbed the pink. And again, because I'm not covering the front with loads of different things, I just thought that it was a bit too stark a contrast between the green and the mushroom stock. So I am just going in with my Sakura gel pens and giving them a little bit of a scribble to make it look like grass. And then I'm just doing the illusion of little flowers by dotting some pink and yellow pens around. And that is it all finished. I absolutely love this. Now I need to find somewhere cool to put it in my studio. I cannot wait to see Dawn, so please do pop across and see what Dawn has made. And we will be back in a fortnight with another very interesting challenge, so don't miss that.